I decided to do a long run whereby I had to go to one end of the pitch where all the home fans were the home fans because we was playing away. So I ran there and stopped on the line and started doing some stretching. As soon as I got to the line, I caught eyes with this particular player. I don't know why, but he looked at me and I looked at him. I just thought he was going to put his thumb up and say, "Yo, yeah,
have a good game, mate.
Have a good game." I don't know. So anyway, he looked at me and said, "Monkey, what you do here? What you do here? What you want here?" So I looked at him and I went, "Did he actually just say, hey you, monkey, what are you doing here?"
Wow.
So I looked at him and he looked at me and said, "Yeah, monkey, what are you doing? Hey, go back to your country, go
back to your country."
Go. I mean, the guy, I'm not sure the guy can't even speak English, but he managed to bark up those words. I will never ever allow myself to be affected by racism, because if I allow myself to be affected by racism, then indeed I am inferior
to that individual,
inferior to the races, and that can never ever happen in my life. I can never look at someone and say that you're superior to me.
Железничари първи стигнаха до гола. Дерека Само отбеляза 6 кози попадения за локомотив.
Hello peeps, my name is Isaac and I'm a long-time friend of Derek, and we've been friends for a very long time, and today, gladly talk about certain issues that we have, right now that is obviously impacting on a lot of black people's life. So yeah, I would like to say, we have here the legendary Derek Asamoah, aka Tottenham Pele,
What's up?
And so Del, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. I'm doing really good. Thanks for asking. I'm doing really good. It's tough times at the moment. With all the lockdowns, it's been a year, and it's been tough. But you know what? As people, we need to keep moving. We need to keep progressing. No matter what the situation is, we must find a way to, overcome it and keep moving. What about you? How are you doing?
I've been alright. Obviously with the COVID-19 lockdown, I've had to make my circle very small, and obviously you are a part of that circle. So
the main reason why I've asked you to be a part of this interview, because obviously I feel like you was part of the experience I had about the subject we're going to talk about. It was a major part of it. You saw indirectly what I was going through, but I didn't really explain to you what I was going through. So with us having this talk, with us having this conversation, I'd like to maybe explain some things to you that I didn't explain to you at the time.
Yeah, you definitely didn't.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Really
so
had no idea.
This is a brilliant time for me to explain why I chose to do the things I did, and then hopefully you'll make sense, because it was something I didn't really want to talk about when you was there, because I wanted you to have the experience. But obviously it's something that I want to talk about now, and to clear the air a little bit. So thank you again for coming here and having this chat with me. It's long overdue, so
it's definitely a pleasure. Well, guys, me and Derek, we've been friends from secondary school.
From a long time, people.
Yeah,
a long time.
Secondary school.
Yeah.
I used to remember we used to travel on the bus 73.
You remember the bus number?
73 to Excess Road, And then from Excess Road, we used to get on the 271.
I remember the 271, yeah, definitely.
And that would take us straight up to Highbury. Highgate. And obviously we went to Aloysius.
It was great time. Trust me, this guy, football-wise, not a lot of people could touch him on the playing ground. Not a lot of people could touch him. It was unbelievable talent, you know.
Derek was the man. I learned everything from you.
You know, I was under the radar because no one knew about me.
I learned everything from you.
You think?
Yeah.
I was under the radar because I wasn't playing for the school team. I wasn't playing for. I think I got a look in the B team or C team.
You know, that baffled me, the fact that you wasn't in the school team. Remember, we used to get on a bus and you would have your plastic polythene bag, and I remember we used to have the football, the mitre football.
Yeah, the mitre football. Every morning.
And we would get to school maybe 6 o'clock in the morning.
I'm telling you.
Honestly, this is no word of a lie. 6 o'clock in the morning we start playing football.
Start playing football. By the time we get into class, we're all sweaty and
oh my god.
Good times, bro. Good times. Amazing times, and
definitely
we're still great friends to this day.
Till today, yeah.
You know
Till today.
It's a blessing to know someone like you.
Oh, definitely, man. Yeah.
But we're here for one reason,
and the reason is racism. You know, right now, you know, there's a lot happening in the world right now. You know, a lot of black people are going through a lot of things that has always been there, but obviously there's never been the media, you know, to be able to jump on Snapchat, YouTube, and just post things to people so that people can become more aware of things that your fellow brothers are going through, you know. And you know, today, you know, I would like to ask you, because you've been a professional and a very successful professional at that, and I would just like to know what your personal experience with racism has been, because it's something that I've always thought had been there, but you've never really been that person to really attack it, talk about it, you know?
Definitely. I mean, racism is a huge problem in football, in society. You know what I mean? It's a huge problem. It's unfortunate it still exists in 2021. I would so far as to say that my first ever experience of some sort of racism was when I was obviously really young, about 12 or 13, something like that, when I was going to school, and I had some friends around. You know, I didn't take it too serious because we was just all kids, and someone will say, "Oh, hey, monkey," or someone will say those sort of language like big lips or whatever. I wouldn't really take it personal or take it in any, you know what I mean, because we was all kid, and I didn't think that they understood what they were saying, and it didn't make no impact on me. I just thought it was just another swear word, or it was just another way of someone putting you down. I didn't understand the impact of it. So that was kind of my first, now that I'm thinking about it, my first personal experience of someone using racial slur towards me. And yeah, so in terms of professional football wise, I never, throughout most of my career in England, I never really came across racism. I know there's systematic racism within football, that I feel that it was a lot harder for me to break into football. I'm not saying it's the reason why I struggled, but I thought I would have had more opportunity if maybe I was a different race, because it was really tough for me to break into football. I didn't really break into it till I was 20 years old. That's when I first signed my professional contract, and I was doing everything right. I was very determined, working hard, but you know what? I never let it get in my way of where I wanted to be. I always knew that if there's the old saying. My dad taught me that, and no dad should have to teach their kids to work 10 times as hard to get somewhere.
Yeah.
But I took it with a pinch of salt, and I said, you know what? If my dad's saying something like that, it must be true. So I subconsciously like trained harder, worked harder, knowing in the back of my mind that opportunities might be less. So when my opportunity does come, I have to be on point, because my dad has told me that for a black man to make it in
work
yeah,
twice as hard as
twice as hard. So I think that impacted in obviously the player I was, because I was a very determined player. If that's one of the reasons why I was so determined, then so be it.
Yeah. So what was your first experience then on the pitch?
My first ever experience of it, I don't know if I didn't look at it as when it happened. I didn't look at it as it was a racist situation or an incident had occurred. So basically, I don't want to call out any names, and I don't want to. Do you know what I mean? I'm not that the type of person to call out any name.
Yeah.
But basically, we went to America to do pre-season tour, and we was meant to go to training. So I got ready for training, walked out my room, pushed for the elevator to come. It was coming from the upper floors, and it was coming down. So when it came down, it opened, and there was 3 or 4 players, maybe 4 or 5 players in the elevator, and I was about to walk in, and one of the players jokingly said, "Sorry, no blacks in this elevator."
This is your own teammate?
This is my own teammate. And I laughed and said, "What are you talking about, man?" And we all laughed together, but at the time, I didn't realise that what had happened. Do you know what I mean? I didn't realise that was an actual incident, and that shouldn't have happened. I was still buzzed that I'm a professional footballer, so I'm just taking everything as it comes.
We're not cutting you, but you know, like obviously, with your teammate, there's a lot of banter.
Yeah.
And you know, as professionals, lots of professionals don't take themselves too seriously. You have a bit of a laugh, you have a bit of a joke. But when that happened, how did you differentiate that from it being just a normal funny thing that is no longer, you know, you felt this is actually a racist comment?
To be honest, in the situation at the time, in the moment, I took it as a joke. I took it as banter with my teammate. I didn't really think about the implication. I know that was like 2001, 2002, and it was a long time ago, and I wasn't that much educated in racism, so I took it as locker room banter. And to this day, I don't know if, when I think about it to this day and everything that's going on, I think about that situation happening like in 2021, which we're in, and I don't think that would have happened in 2021. Would have been frowned upon. So looking at it back then, it should not happen. Like, because at the time, I think I was there might have been 2 black players in the team. So at the time, I didn't think of it as anything like a major incident or anything like that. I just took it as a locker room banter.
Yeah.
But looking at it right now in 2021, it should not have happened, and they should not have used that language to say no black, whether it's a joke, whether it's not. They shouldn't have done that, and you know what I mean. So looking back at it, I think that was my first experience of racism. But like I said, I didn't take it as racism because I was uneducated and I was just
oblivious.
Yeah, definitely, I was oblivious to it, and I didn't understand what the implication, or maybe I don't know what their mindset was saying. It could have been like a racial thing, but they made it into a joke, or they might, because they were seeing, obviously I was very young, I was like 20, and I think they were senior players, so they knew better, and they should have not have used that language.
Yeah, express themselves.
Express themselves in that manner. So that was my very first experience of racism within football. But my first experience of racism on the field probably happened in 2006-2007 season when I was playing for Shrewsbury Town.
Shrewsbury Town, okay.
Yeah. We played against a team called Accrington Stanley. I did very well in that game. I was like doing, you know me, Tottenham Pele. I was doing my stuff, and I managed to win a penalty.
Oh wow!
I managed to win a penalty for my team. I dribbled through a couple of players and got brought down. And so normally I don't take penalties for my team, but this time I felt confident, so I took the ball. And obviously when I took the ball, there was a few fans behind the goals.
And this is in England.
This is in England. This is England.
Yeah.
So there was a few fans behind the goals since I picked up the ball. So I heard some booing, which is normal.
Which is normal. Opposing team.
But within the booing, I heard some monkey chants within it as well, which I listened out for. I was like, wait a minute, that's not booing. Do you know what I mean? So I was a bit shocked and to hear the monkey chants within the booing, and I didn't know what to make of it, and I was like, is this actually happening? And even back then in 2006 too, there was a lot of racism out and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, no, it can't be possible. So I put it to the back of my mind. I was disappointed to hearing it, but once again, I didn't act on it, and I didn't think that because of maybe the person I am, because I'm such a strong-willed person, and not a lot of things
bother you.
Affect me. Not a lot of things off the field affect me. I'm very focused on my job at hand on the field, so I didn't really take note of it. But once again, thinking about it now, it shouldn't have happened, and I should have maybe reported it or something like that. Yeah.
So, at that moment in time, in 2006, do you think had you reported it, something would have happened?
I don't think anything would have happened, and I thought I was strong enough to deal with it, so I dealt with it. But at the end of the day, everyone's different, and I shouldn't have kept it in because another player might not be able to deal with it as strongly as I did, and maybe I should have reported it. But then again, I don't think anything would have happened. Anything major would have happened, so that's why I didn't really.
And I think that's the thing with racism. I feel like now, in 2021 now, people know what they can do when these things happen. There is a procedure in place that people can follow. Those days when you was playing, there wasn't none of that. You could actually have been alienated for actually going out there and saying, look, these people behaved in this manner against me. You know?
Yeah, exactly. This is the position what a lot of players find themselves in. Like in 2001 when I got the when in the elevator experience, like if I would have reported it to my manager, or if I would have reported it to the club, or if I would have reported, I probably would have been looked as a troublemaker, or someone who's not a team player, or trying to get the teammates.
You didn't get the banter. That's what they would have said.
Yeah, or I didn't get. I didn't get.
That's what they would have said. You didn't get the banter.
Yeah, 100%.
The main reason why we're here today is to talk about your experience in a club that you was actually racially abused, where you actually felt racism every single day at work. You know. So, what team did you experience this at, and how did you come to play for the club?
Okay, so the name of the team was Lokomotiv Sofia, and it was in Bulgaria. That's where I experienced not particularly with the team, but that's the stage in my career where I experienced like the most racism.
It was visible.
visible.
It wasn't hidden like this is
It wasn't.
every day. It wasn't a one-off.
No, it wasn't a one-off, and it was a team called Lokomotiv Sofia.
How did you come to play for Lokomotiv Sofia?
So I had left Nice in the south of France, a beautiful place, but things just didn't work out. I didn't get the opportunity that I felt I deserved. So I cancelled my contract with Nice by mutual consent, and I left and went to the SPL in Scotland. I played for a team called Hamilton, and I played I think three months for them, for Hamilton. It was a very good experience. I mean, my debut was against Rangers, and we played. Sorry, my debut was against Celtic.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and we played. I played in front of like 50,000-60,000
Wow.
people, and
Wow.
it was an absolutely amazing experience for me. And at the end of that season, I got offered a new contract, but the terms wasn't that great. The money, especially coming from Nice, wasn't that great, and it was a big difference, and I just couldn't accept the terms they were willing to give me. So I know football's not about money, but money also speaks about how they value you at a club.
At a club,
what sort of intention they have for you. So if they're willing to spend money on you, then you know that
They value
they value. So I felt that they were just taking a chance on me. If I work out, then great, they're not going to lose a lot of money and stuff. So I couldn't accept the terms. So I decided that a new challenge was I needed to find a new challenge. And I thought that playing in England was difficult for me to play in England because of the way I left to go to France. A lot of teams are blacklisted my name and stuff like that. So it was difficult to break back into or get a team in England. So I decided the best thing for me to do is obviously to go abroad and play again. An opportunity came with Lokomotiv Sofia, who were looking for a winger/striker. So an agent contacted me and said, listen, this club is looking for this sort of player. Do you want to go? So I said, absolutely. Lokomotiv Sofia, I heard about them. They've got great history. They play in the European tournaments and stuff. So it would be an opportunity for me to play in.
Step forward.
Exactly. Opportunity for me to play in Europe as well. So I said, absolutely, no problem. So I met the team out in Germany, in Düsseldorf. I met the team out there. We done pre-season training. I liked the team. I liked the players. I liked the manager. I liked everything about the club, the history of it. So I decided to sign for the team without actually visiting Bulgaria.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So when I went back to Bulgaria, everything was finalized. And when the team traveled to Bulgaria, everything was finalized, and I signed the contract. And I was very happy. They gave me the money I was looking for. They made me feel valued. They made me feel comfortable. The chairman, the director, my teammates, everyone, manager, made me feel absolutely brilliant. So I was very, very happy with my situation in Bulgaria.
Sounds good. You've signed for a team that, like you said, you wanted to feel valued, and they valued you. You got on well with the management. You got on well with the owner of the club. You got on well also with the players. So when did you first experience racism?
The first time I experienced racism was the first game of the season. First game of the season. The first game was away to a team called Borough. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong, but I think it's called Borough, a team called, they're playing green and white. And like...
Class, was you the only black outfield player?
Yes, I was the only black player in Lokomotiv Sofia at that time, if I remember right.
No, in the game, on the pitch, was you the only black player on the pitch?
Yes, I was the only black player, but before I get to that, in that particular game, I didn't start. That was the first game of the season, and I didn't start that game. I was on the bench. Yeah, understandably, I'm a new player. I need to get used to the system. So what happened was, we travelled away to Borough, and the game started. We done our warm up, everything's calm, everything's cool, nothing to report on. And all of a sudden, we come in at half time and it was 1-0 down. Okay, so I went into the changing room, obviously, because normally we warm up during half time, whoever's not starting. But I decided the manager called me into the changing room, so I was thinking, ooh, I might get a chance of
to get on the pitch.
So I went into the changing room. When I got into the changing room, something like weird was going on there that I've never seen at any football club. When I got into the changing room, I opened the door, came in, and I was expecting obviously the manager to be giving the team the talk about naturally, what happened in the first half, what we could go wrong. I got in there and there's directors, there's other people I've never seen on the training ground, but I've seen the director before because obviously I had to speak to him before the Sunday. But he was in the changing room, and I was like, "What on earth is going on? What is he doing in the changing room?" Do you know what I mean? Because in England and any other country I played in, apart from signing the contract and what have you, you do not see the directors around anywhere. You do not see the chairman. You don't see anyone. Anyone of that level. You only see them in the offices and stuff like that. So I was really amazed to see that the chairman and the director was there, and he was like barking out instruction and shouting at the players and saying,
"Really?
What kind of rubbish is this? How you going out and playing like this? This is totally unacceptable." And I'm playing.
Not cut. And what was the manager doing?
The manager was just standing there like this, and I'm thinking, this is your job, mate. You're the one who's supposed to, you know what I mean? The language you was using was more like, the language the director was using was like, if you don't fix up, wasn't saying that directly, but you can feel the energy like you better fix up, or I don't know, but it was really, really weird for me to see a chairman giving like orders like that, like you better go out there and fix up and play properly. And he said, then he turned around, the director turned around to me and said, "Derek, get changed." I was like, I was scratching my head and was like, I looked at the manager, I was like, alright. So, but the manager there was a very renowned known manager.
Exactly.
He had a good reputation. He managed like some top clubs, and he was like, seemed like he was powerless, and so he signaled for me to like get changed, and I was like, manager's like, so I got changed, and the director said, "Go and warm up." So I was like, okay. So I put on my shin pads, I put on my top. I was all excited but confused at the same time.
Yeah, because
I'm about to come on.
You've never seen that.
Yeah. So I'm buzzing. I got onto the pitch now, so I started doing my run in the middle of the pitch. So I decided to do a long run, whereby I had to go to one end of the pitch where all the away the home fans were the home fans, because we was playing away. So I ran there and stopped on the line and started doing some stretching. As soon as I got to the line, I caught eye with, because obviously there's a lot of people there. I caught eye with.
How many people were in the stands?
I would say where the part I was, there must have been like 2,000 people.
That's a lot.
Where I was, obviously there was more people other side of the ground. So I went there and I caught eyes with this particular player. I don't know why, but he looked at me and I looked at him. I just thought he was gonna put his thumb up and say, "Yo,
have a good game, mate.
Have a good game." I don't know. So anyway, he looked at me and said, "Monkey, what you do here? What you do here? What you want here?" So I looked at him and I went, did he actually just say, "Hey you, monkey, what are you doing here?"
Wow.
So I looked at him and he looked at me and said, "Yeah, monkey, what are you doing? Hey, go back to your country, go
back to your country."
Go back. I mean, the guy, I'm not sure the guy can't even speak English, but he managed to bark up those words like.
It is quite traumatic.
Do you know what? It was. I kind of like smiled at him for some reason. I smiled at him and went, because I knew what I was about to come on and do and show. So I smiled at him and went, and then jog back. Do you know what I mean? So I've always taught myself that I will never ever allow myself to be affected by racism, because if I allow myself to be affected by racism, then indeed I am inferior
to that individual,
inferior to the racist, and that can never ever happen in my life. I can never look at someone and say that you're superior to me, because for me, as a person, you cannot let other people's ignorance define who you are. Do you know what I mean? You cannot let other people's, what they think about you, define you. Any form of discrimination is somebody who feels they're superior to you. And so this guy that's saying, hey monkey, he's probably thinking he's superior to me. So that's why I was able to move away from that situation and tell myself that yes, there's racism about, but there's no way I'm gonna let this fool
stop you from what you're gonna go and do on the pitch.
There's no way I'm gonna let this fool stop me from
what
I was gonna do on the pitch.
Can I say something? This is something that a lot of black people, it could be in football, it could be in business, it could be in anything. What we deal with that we actually subconsciously don't know that we're dealing with it, but we have, because you're taught, like you said your dad always said to you, you gotta work 100% harder than your white friends, because you have to work harder in order for you to get ahead. But I want to ask you, mentally, before you got to this point, mentally, what have you built up mentally in your head to allow you to cope with that? Because any normal individual, something like that would literally shut them down. They would forget about what it is that they're just about to go and do. They will forget about their job. But what is it about you that made you think, I can't take this one?
Because I've naturally been a mentally strong individual. Okay, from where I grew up in Ghana, I learned a lot. I've seen a lot of people in bad conditions. Okay, I've been in bad conditions myself. Okay, so I've seen a lot of things in my life, and coming up and growing up and wanting to be a footballer, there's been a lot of obstacles. Even though I was very young, but I was experiencing ageism. I don't even know if that's a word. I was 17, 18 years old, and I was being told I was too old to make it as a professional. Because if you was good enough, you'd have been picked up when you was 15, 16, but you're too old. As an 18-year-old, I've seen players that say, oh, young player, but just because I'm not a club, I'm too old. So 19, I've been told I'm too old. So there's always been stumbling blocks in my career for me to make it as a professional footballer. So I think I've built a system of just knocking down that stereotype, knocking down walls that's been built in front of me. So I've been a fighter all my life to the point where to become a professional footballer. So when this individual decided to racially abuse me, I could have looked at him and run back into the changing room and be like, do you know what? I'm not cut out for this.
This is a very important question. So do you think that black professional players are built mentally different from their white peers?
I mean, I don't know. I can only speak for myself and what I've been through. And if most black people have been through what I've been through, then I feel that subconsciously, without them knowing, they've built a mechanism, a coping mechanism, or a strength mechanism, which they shouldn't have to, but
definitely
indirectly, they've built it to be able to cope with situations like this, whether it was in school, whether it was going to the local shop, whether it was getting on a bus, whether it was trying to apply for any other job. So they've experienced some sort of blockage that's made them mentally tough. I mean, I'm not trying to say that we should all accept it and just move on with it. But I'm saying that for me personally, everything I'm saying is for me personally, everyone can do whatever they want with it. But for me, I choose to not let racism affect me. Like I said, if I allow it to affect me, then indeed I am inferior to the races, and I can never in my lifetime let that happen, because at the end of the day, this individual, I don't know what his background is, what his mental issue is or whatever, and if I allow him to put me off my game or whatever, then I feel that I'm the biggest loser.
But, you know, your mindset, you've just explained and we understand that, but we do have to say it's not right. You know, you've built yourself up, but it's not right that you should have to build yourself up like that to deal with those things. You know, so back onto what you were saying, when he said those words to you, how did you then, you know, go onto the pitch and then perform?
Bruv, like I said, I'm built differently. I'm cut from a different cloth. I'm mentally astute. Do you know what I mean? I'm mentally where my mentality is. It will take a whole army to like literally hold me down, to put me down. Beast mode to put me down, to suppress me, to make me feel inferior, to make me feel like I'm not worthy or whatever. It will take a whole army to be able to do that, because what I've been through and what I've seen, you might think that what just happened there was like unacceptable, but that was just a taster of things to come.
Oh wow.
So just imagine that first half done, like I said, I've done my warm up.
Yeah.
Second half, I come out with the team, I'm standing on the touchline, the officials holding up my number to come on.
What position was you playing?
I was playing as a striker.
As a striker, centre forward.
So I come on the, so he holds my number, I'm about to jog on the pitch, they announce my name. As soon as I put my foot on the pitch, all you hear was monkey chant.
Seriously?
All you hear, just imagine the amount of people.
Seriously?
The amount of people.
How many people was at that game?
I would go along to say about 8,000-9,000 people.
And how many home supporters did you?
All of them, obviously was playing away.
Yeah.
So 97% of them were home supporters.
Wow.
So you can imagine, as soon as I stepped onto the pitch, the hostile atmosphere, the amount of chanting that was going on. Like I said, first I thought it was booing, but then because booing and monkey chants
it's not the same.
It's not the same, but you can see similarity in it. But then if you listen closely, there's a big distinction into it. So as soon as I got onto the pitch,
I'm sorry. When you say monkey chants, like what did you hear in the whole stadium?
In the whole stadium, it's like an orchestra of people in sync, just going ooh ooh ooh. Do you know what I mean? To me, as an individual coming on the pitch just to do my job, and I was subject to that amount of.
And you'd experienced that, but not to that level, not to the level where these are grown men with kids.
These are grown men.
They've got degrees, they've got different jobs, different walks of lives, and they are all, in unison. And the only thing that they could actually utter out of their mouth is monkey chants. At an individual, just because you was of a darker complexion.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing, but not one part of me felt to come off the pitch. Not one. I'm not saying that was the right thing to do. I'm not saying that was the wrong thing to do. But for me, because of how I'm built, I just looked at all of them as waste people, at people that are not intelligent. Because any intelligent person, I'll never pick a fight with a fool. You know what I mean? Because what benefit is
It's no
benefit. If I win, what do I win? I win nothing. If I lose, what do I win? I win nothing.
You get a lot of black players and they play in these atmospheres, and then you wonder to yourself, look, if you're making monkey noises at me and you're not happy with what it is that I'm here to do, like you always say, why don't they just walk off the pitch? So why didn't you just walk off the pitch?
I always like to say that this is my personal choice, and I've never ever. If you feel to walk off the pitch, then I'll back you walk off the pitch.
Yeah.
If you feel to stay on the pitch and perform and do your job, I'll back you to stay on the pitch, do your job. But the reason why I didn't walk off the pitch, I don't want to be inferior to the races. Because as soon as I come off the pitch, what does it signal? It signals that they've won. I'm affected by, I'm not strong. I don't want to use that I'm not strong mentally because it goes deeper than that. But individually, I didn't think that I thought my presence on the pitch and will be able to shut them up, in a sense, or I'll be able to win at the end of the day. Because I got into the pitch and it was 1-0 down.
Yeah.
Every touch of the ball I had, monkey nose.
That must be hard.
I'm not gonna lie, just like somebody booing you, it has some sort of effect. Can either have a negative or a positive, not a positive, but it will have some sort of response to you. So all the boo, every time I touched the ball, all the monkey chants, for some reason or another, it wasn't. I could hear it, and it was sad, and it was annoying, and it made me like want to prove that I am superior. You don't know who you're dealing with. This ain't I'm an individual who you've never come across. You know what I mean? The person they were dealing with, they didn't know what they were dealing with.
Who they were dealing with.
So before you know it, the ball's in the back of the net.
Wow, who scored?
The Tottenham Pele. The Tottenham Pele. And you know what? I'll put up the goal as well. It was a Tottenham Pele.
Wow.
Who scored? 1-0.
So it actually, what they did is actually to drive you for you to want to excel, for you to want to actually show them, look, you can do all your monkey chants, but I am an excellent footballer, and this is what I'm here to do, and this is what you're gonna get out of me, and you got a goal out of it. But what was the satisfaction for you? Like, you scored a goal. Did they then stop? Because did they think, oh my God, look, if we get up his skin, he might score maybe 10 against us?
To be honest, when I scored that particular goal, because all my touches, even though the monkey chants was getting louder and louder, all my touches was exceptional. I don't think they've seen a player like me before. All my touches were like on point. I wouldn't say as far as they gave me the boost. I think it was more proving to myself like what kind of player I am. I was just focused on the job at hand. I think I managed to black it out. Everything that was happening in the stand, I managed to block it out, and I managed to concentrate on the job at hand. I scored a goal, not because they were making monkey chants, not because they were cheering for me. It's because this is what I do, and this is the kind of mentality I have to do a job. And at the end of the game, I contributed or assisted the winning goal.
Oh wow! So your team actually won.
So my team actually won the game 2-1. Wow. When I came on, I managed to do the job that I was required to do and get my team over the line to get the victory and the 3 points. But what I was really disappointed in was the acceptance of my teammates.
Really, no one actually, said.
No one blinked an eyelid. No one came up to me. Like, I'm not saying that I needed it. I'm not saying I needed someone to put their arms around me and say what they're doing is unacceptable. No one actually, even at the end of the game, came up to me, because I was expecting it. Not that, like I said, not that I needed it, but I was expecting someone from my team, someone from my management, someone from the media, because I done an interview after, so I was preparing myself for questions about the cheering, the monkey chants and the racism, and I was preparing myself for it. But it's like, they're oblivious to it.
They had become conditioned
They've
to
become-
accept that type of behavior towards black players.
The media, everyone, my teammates, no one put their arm around me and say, Derek, that was unacceptable. Derek, that was disgusting. What they were doing.
Not one player.
No
said
one
anything
player.
to you.
Are you okay? Just I've done the job and well done, Derek. Oh, but inside, I was feeling the type of way that no one deserved to be subjected to this amount of
Abuse,
torment, abuse, racism, disrespect. No one was. I didn't deserve it, and they just saw that they didn't respect me. So I did have a think in my head: do I want to continue playing in this league? Not because they're racist, but because that I feel that they don't deserve me. I suppose they don't deserve to watch my talent.
That level of talent.
Yeah, they don't deserve it. The next game was a home game, so I felt that wow. I'm happy.
You've proven yourself to your home crowd.
Yeah, I'm happy that I'm going to be at home, and I'm going to. Obviously, I'm a black player, and I'm at home, so obviously, there's not going to be nothing like that in my stadium. It's going to be nothing like that in my stadium. So I was looking forward to the next game at home. So the next game came around. We done training throughout the whole week. Nothing was said. Nobody came up to me and said.
And in the press conference, none of the media, members of the media asked you any questions. How did you cope with the racism?
Because in England, if something like that happened, there'll be an inquest, and because it wasn't just one person, it was the whole stadium. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to the home game. I'm looking forward to the home game because I know that I'm not going to be subjected to that sort of
that level of racism or
abuse or something from my own fans, because they've seen that I've scored a goal. They've seen that I was involved in the winning goal. They've seen that I'm a valuable player now
to the team.
Yes. So the next game obviously started.
You start okay.
I started
in the warm up before you started. Yeah. Did you get what you got the last time? Did someone, insinuate anything towards
nothing?
Racism?
Nothing. Like in the warm up, I was doing my warm up. I was a bit skeptical, but I was still a bit more calm because it's at home in my home crowd. Nice stadium, beautiful stadium. Doing the warm up, nothing. Obviously, I was the only black player. Like the team I was playing against.
Yeah.
There were I think 2 black players in there, 2 or 3 black players in there.
Oh wow!
So I'm thinking that great. I was saying that I was speaking to them. I was saying hi. What's that? I think they were Brazilian or something like that. So I'm thinking at least today we're gonna have
even field. You're not the only
black player
on the pitch.
And I'm at home. My home team has accepted me. I played well. I've done.
They also have black players in the team.
They also have black players in the team. So everything's fine. So the game starts and we're playing, everything's now, I'm getting a few touches. But as soon as the black player from the opposite team touched the ball, I heard monkey chants again from my home supporters.
And you play for this team?
I'm playing for this team, but they're not making monkey noises when I touch the ball. But when the opposition black players touch the ball, they're making monkey chants. So every touch they get, the same thing. I'm like, what's going on?
Shocking.
Absolutely shocking.
I mean, you want to win, but not through abuse of another player.
I felt so like I never feel sorry for myself, but I felt bad for them. I felt sorry for them, and I just couldn't believe it.
Was this more? Was there more people in the stand this time than the last game?
I think there was equal numbers, but obviously this time it's my home supporters. So I was expecting, because I'm black and I'm playing for this team,
they've accepted you. They accept other players,
but the exact opposite. Things like this does not have a personal effect on me. But I don't know what mentality these other players have, and I'd rather it didn't happen. You know what I mean? Because no one deserves that.
Definitely
no one
not.
deserved that kind of disrespect. So it was absolutely horrible, you know. And I felt that these people have absolutely zero respect for
Black
black
people of color.
in general. It just happened throughout game after game after game after
It's
game.
amazing.
I don't think that season there was a single game where I didn't experience it.
Wow. I think I can understand that in a way because remember I came up to Bulgaria. I came to see you.
Yeah.
And I'd always ask you, they're like, come on man, when am I gonna come and watch you, do your stuff? And I remember us going to we went to one training session, but you never actually allowed me to. I remember you had a game and I thought it's because I was sleeping, because we went out, and I was sleeping, but you never invited me to the game. And I've always wondered, how comes, because you're a top baller. I came there to watch you play, but I never got to see that. And I always wondered why.
It was hard to explain because when you was in Bulgaria, when you came to see me, did you experience any sort of racism?
To be perfectly honest with you, I did not experience any racism.
Exactly. Bulgaria is a lovely country. I'm not gonna sit here and say
it was fun.
It was fun. I had an amazing time. I did not experience any sort of racism. That was why it was so strange, because it was in your face racism. Do you know what I mean? So I was expecting it to be off the field as well, and people were absolutely amazing with me outside the stadium. Every time I go to the shops, every time I go to the mall, every time I go to the restaurant.
I remember you used to, we went to the shopping mall and people would come up to you were signing autographs. I remember when I forgot the name of the shopping mall, but a little kid left his mum and dad. He plays for. Look, and he came and I was thinking, oh God, this guy's a superstar. Yeah. But I never actually saw you went to the. We did went to the stadium.
Yeah.
But I never actually saw you with the whole crowd. Yeah. And so when the parts that I did see with it was the fun stuff, like we went out, VIP treatment, wherever we went, you never had to line up. They all knew who you was. The managers of the club were the ones like taking care of your enjoyment, and I was like, this is amazing. So why did you think I don't want my brother to see that?
One, I thought I don't want my brother to see this because he was having such a lovely time, and your thoughts about the country, because I absolutely love Bulgaria. Like, I want to go back there, and Bulgaria is such a lovely place. I had such an amazing time. I was living in such an amazing area of amazing people, and I didn't want to. I don't know if I was embarrassed, or if I was protecting you, or I just didn't want to ruin your experience, or I didn't want you going back and saying negative things about Bulgaria or about the team I'm playing for. Because you saw it on TV. I was on a sports channel. I was one of the top strikers there.
You was in the newspapers.
You know what I mean?
What was the driver's name? Your driver, Mitchell.
Yeah, Mitchell.
And he would come up with a newspaper, and then we would talk about your performance, but I never actually got to see the games.
Yeah, the reason why I didn't let you come because it was a hostile environment. Do you know what I mean? The fans were not the friendliest people in the world, and I was thinking maybe I should have let you come, but I was protecting you, and I was thinking that even my kids came to Bulgaria, and I didn't let them in the stadiums. I didn't let them come and see, which was like they've always loved coming when I play. They always loved coming to the stadium. But how they got, what effect is that gonna have on them come to watch their dad play? And every time their dad touched the ball, I didn't hear what they were saying. And obviously, if they're in the
stands, you would definitely
hear it. You wouldn't just be listening to the monkey chants. You'd be hearing the racism, and they'll maybe feel. To be honest, I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel safe enough for you because as a player, I've got protection from the team. I got protection from security. I got protection. But you having to find your way into the stadium, having to navigate through the crowd on your own, and having that sort of crowd, that sort of abuse towards me as a player who's a superstar. Imagine you.
Definitely was. They loved you. From what I saw, I mean, they loved you.
Imagine you as a normal everyday person, just walking through. I couldn't risk. I'm not saying anything would have happened to you, or whether it's physical or mental. I couldn't risk it for you to see that side that I'm having to deal with and endure week in, week out. I'm really sorry that you wasn't able to see a game, and then in another time I don't know if I would have let you still and still come, but really sorry that you didn't.
I would say, I want to ask, did you at any point feel it was okay for them to abuse you but not your brother?
Because there was another black person playing for the other team, I felt more angry for them than for me. It's weird because I thought, how dare you abuse these guys?
Yeah.
But I never felt that about myself because I was comfortable enough to know that I'm in a space where your action cannot affect my everyday being, my everyday living, my performance on the pitch. Your action can never affect that. But how dare you abuse a fellow black person? And I thought for you that if I looked up and they were making monkey and I saw you and I think that would affect me more. You understand?
Yeah. It's by no means right that you should have to put yourself, sacrifice yourself, to even listening to you. Not that you're okay, but you felt like you're built. You've been through so much throughout your career. You can take certain levels of abuse, the physical side, that you're willing to put look, it's not many people that will say, I will take all the abuse if my brother or my sister, so that my brother or my sister wouldn't have to. Not many people can say that, and by no means is that right, that you have to use yourself as a shield. For other people. And I have to say to you, I deeply respect you for that, but you shouldn't have to carry that. You should never have to carry that. It's a big burden.
It's a huge burden, but as I always say, that when they can't beat you, where do they turn to? Where do they go? When they can't physically destroy you, how frustrating is it? Do you know when you want to fight someone that doesn't want to fight you? How frustrating is it? Do you know when you're cussing someone that just ignores you and that just feels empowered, that just smiles and has pride and is shining? Do you know what I mean? I was glowing on that pitch and it was hurting them even more. You know what I mean? I was glowing, and if I wasn't glowing, then I would not be able to perform. I would not be able to get best player. I'll not be able to win awards. I'll not be able to.
You won.
I won awards, and even with 3 months or 3 months left on my contract, I was acquired by another team in Asia, and they paid a record fee to take me away. That's how good I was in Bulgaria. There were clubs from Holland, there were clubs from Turkey, there were big clubs from Greece. All the big clubs were
seeking your signature.
Seeking my signature. How on earth did I perform like that in that hostile environment? Not just perform.
That's just amazing.
Like score. I think I scored like 17 goals in 30 games or something. For Lokomotiv Sofia. In that hostile environment. No, so I can't put it down to because they spared me on. It's because I'm just an individual that just takes pride in who he is and that has confidence in who he is and that it's not subject to racial abuse. Because I feel as a person, racism is just not in football. Racism is a society thing. There's a bit everywhere, and until we get it out of society, we can never clear it from football. So I appreciate everything, all the efforts they're doing at this moment, but I feel it's a society problem.
Do you think we have a long way to go? The fight towards racism has come a long way. Obviously in games now you get players kneeling down and to obviously to show their disapproval to racism within the game. Do you think that has had an effect? Because obviously when you was playing, those things wasn't in place.
Do you know what? What it's done is brought awareness to the world about what systematic racism is. But will it make a difference? I don't think that'll make a difference. If you'd have asked me without taking part in it, without taking a knee, or so to speak, I'll go as long as saying no. I'll not have.
Really?
Yeah.
Because a lot of professionals have been taking.
Yeah.
Almost everybody on the pitch takes the knee, but you would say no.
I'll say no to it.
Why?
I don't know if I have the answer to it, but for me, I never want to feel like a victim. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't want to divide opinions or be controversial or anything. I'm speaking from a personal experience or person. I do not want to. Yes, it's shining. I think if we did it once or twice, it shines a light on
the issues
on the issue. But to continue doing it week in, week out, I don't think because at the end of the day, it's just segregating people. It's just saying you're black, you have issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I get
that makes me feel
I get that.
a bit uncomfortable. I don't feel that helps the situation, and I don't think I would have been comfortable taking part in.
You as an individual, I have to say to you, like, you're a goat, innit? You're on a different level. But I do think that though you've made some serious points, and you're 100% correct, I'm not saying you were. I do believe that, taking the knee is a good thing, because the racism didn't just start off one day. It's been something that, and I would say to you, from your first game, you could say it was their custom. It was a ritual. It was something that they did to black people every single day. So if black players have a chance to do something, and for it to become culturally accepted, for them to take the knee, then because people are being exposed to, people are knowing about what black players go through, they are more likely to, think, oh, you know what, I behave, because sometimes you find people behaving in a way where they don't really know, they're just following the crowd. And there have been many times where people have just gone to a football game and they would just follow the chants. They wouldn't really listen to what they chant, they would just follow it. But when you look at it, it's only 50% of the people that actually believe in what it is that they're doing. And there's 50% of the people that just follow us. So, in a way, you are a special case, to be able to deal with that is absolutely incredible.
And thank you for that. And I understand where you're coming from. Us, like a lot of people will not be in a position to deal with situations like that. But I want us as a race to come to a point where it's like a vicious circle. We get racially abused, we take the knee, we get racially abused, you know what I mean? It's like a vicious, and then it's never gonna end.
Yeah.
But I want us to get to the point as a race where we don't feel victimized.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't want to speak too much on this because I'm not the right person. I don't have.
Yeah, you can only talk from
your
experience.
Yeah,
but
I don't have the.
I also feel that, you know, the black race, especially black men, I have to say, we are very, very, you know, cautious to feel weak. And I can understand because you're a man, you know, like you're alpha in all your ways and all that you do. So I can understand where you're coming from, but there is actually nothing wrong sometimes in seeing a problem and just, you know, taking it, I could be weak. Not that you were, but I could be weak in order to get progression in the eyes.
Yeah, I totally understand, and we always need to make a progress, but is the way to make progress feeling victimized, or is the way to make progress standing up against it? Because I could have easily walked off the pitch, but I didn't.
You didn't.
But I carried on, and I've been able to excel I've been able to I've made to have a career out of it. I've been able to excel. I've been able to move on from it. Or I could have easily crumbled and said, you know what, rip up my contract.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. But I feel the more people that take my stance and repel it, I think it's more beneficial in the long run than the people that. Yes, it's good to bring attention to it, and it is a problem, and I feel it's a systematic problem. I don't feel it's an individual problem. I feel the way the system is designed, the way the country is run, the way it's a lot. I feel that it's designed towards making life difficult and not fair in many ways to black people. It's unfortunate that our race have to fight twice as hard, but if that's what's going to happen to turn things upside down, then we need to all be in it together to fight for the same cause, to turn things in our favor, and not just accept that, listen, if I apply for this job, I'm not going to get it. If I apply for that job,
there's a lot of that. Yeah.
I'm not going to get it because I'm black. Instead, apply for it, get the job.
Believe that you're going to
get the job, get the job, get into the system, then you start to make the changes within the system, okay? Get into parliament, then you, within the system, start making changes in the parliament. Although the road there is going to be harder and tougher than what the white person has to go through to get to that stage, but once you fight through the battle, you fight through the obstacles, and you get there, make sure when you do get there, you make the difference. You know what I mean? You change things up. You employ other black people. You encourage other black people to not just give up and be a victim. You encourage them to fight through. That's what I did. So if another player in my position, I would not encourage them to say, do you know what? This is unacceptable. Yes, it's unacceptable, but battle through it, fight through it. Do you know what I mean? You will get.
You know, I know where you're going with this, but how many black men do we have to throw in a fire in order for us to get progression? And I actually believe, honestly speaking, if people racially abuse, and I'm not saying what you did is right, I believe that, you know, the world is no longer where it used to be. And you and myself, we were taught differently, bred differently. When the odds was against you, that's when you fought hardest. And you could tell from your performances in Bulgaria, you amazingly well. But I don't want my kids to go through that. I would actually want them to say, look, if you're racially abusing me, fair enough, I don't want to do it no more. Because I know that they've got the tools that if they decide they don't want to do it no more, they don't have to, because they're not going to be able to get those skills from elsewhere.
Do you realise that if every player, like John Barnes, like the players that came before us, or the black player, if they took that approach and said that, do you know what, I don't want to go through this, then we'll be in the position we are right now. They went through it, they battled through it. I'm not saying they had to, or it's fair that they had to do it, but they battled through it to make opportunities for me, for you, and for some. So me going to Bulgaria, even and not giving up and fighting through it, shows
you was the pioneers. We can't just say John Barnes without not saying you. John Barnes didn't experience Bulgaria. You did. So even though he did it in the UK, you experienced the same thing. So try and understand what I'm saying. You can't, like, I know you're John Barnes, but you and John Barnes are in the same shoes. Honestly speaking, you are a legend. He is a legend. But for our kids, I believe that as black people have done enough for our kids to say, look, we are valued.
Yeah, 100%.
And whatever it is that we've got to offer is just as good as the Caucasian fella.
Yes.
And we can decide. Look, and the world is more aware of these things. And can you imagine basketball with no football play? Basketball with no black athletes. Football with no black athletes. Athletics with no black athletes. People will definitely know there's something wrong with this planet.
100%. And I totally agree with what you said, and there's no excuse for it in modern day, in today. There's no excuse for it. But once again, his head keeps popping up from the sand to show that there's still a problem. And for me, the only way to deal with it is to not feel victimized, is to attack it. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. Let's try and change things within the country, within the whole system as a whole, not just football.
It's not just football.
It's not just football. Because if you don't have racism outside of football, we will not have racism inside football. Because the amount of people that go to the stadium in England, I'm not sitting here and saying England is different from Bulgaria. All I'm saying is Bulgaria is more tolerated to be racial, to use racial slurs or to make monkey chants. I'm not saying that if the people in England were to go to Bulgaria, they wouldn't feel encouraged to use more. I'm not saying that the racism level is different. All I'm saying is that England is frowned upon, but it doesn't mean that people in the stadium are not racist. Just because they're not making monkey chants, it doesn't mean that they don't have racist tendency. And you find out that the racist tendency, where in Bulgaria it comes out normally, but it'll come out more when a fan is angry or frustrated, especially at a black player. That's when the racism will come out. So I won't go as far as to say that there's no racism in England just because you don't hear it, but I would say it's undercover racism still.
But in the UK, let's say the police car will stop 10 black boys and will stop 10 white guys. You would find that the 10 black boys that are stopped, they would definitely get letters through the post office.
Yeah, 100%.
But the white guy, somebody, you know what, he looks just like my son. He can definitely easily make that mistake. He will let him off, give him a pat on the back. Nothing will happen.
That's so true, and
you've broken boundaries with the things that you've achieved in your short lifespan. Honestly, like in the life that you've lived so far, you've actually done things that most of us will not even, get to that level. So you would have seen a lot of these, little racial acts.
But bro, this is what I'm trying to explain to you. I'm not saying it's right and you have to deal with it, but the only way for me, like before the number plate recognition came on, I was a young black man driving a fast car. I got stopped countless of times, but do you know how long these stops took? Out of my time, it took like literally 3 or 4 minutes out of my time, and I go away feeling like a king, like a boss. Do you know why? Because I did not fall into their trap. Do you know? Because they stop me, say, "Whose car is this?" I says, "My car." I'm not like, "Why you asking me stupid questions for? Why? Is it because I'm?" Yeah, I know deep down it's because I'm black. Why you're stopping me? Yeah. But they ask for my registration. I'm not like, "Why you asking for my registration?" I show them my registration. They ask for insurance document. I show them my insurance document, and they're like scratching their head. Okay, you can go. I walk with my head high, and do you know how stupid they feel? Do you know how dumb they feel?
They feel that, you know,
they feel so humiliated that how someone that's meant to be beneath me, or how someone that has shown that he's above me. Do you know what I mean? And that's a win for me. It's more a win for me than me getting arrested, than having to go to court and having to do all this unnecessary stuff by refusing. I'm not showing this. You're stopping me from what? Yes, we know all this, but there's right ways to fight it and there's wrong ways to fight it.
But you do understand.
You know what I mean? 100%.
Sometimes the fight is not head on, and maybe 75% of the time it's not head on. What you can visually see, you can do something about, but what you can't, you have absolutely no control.
Yeah.
So, you know, for those that didn't know, now you know the legendary GOAT, Tottenham Pele. I never knew why it was that, you know, he wouldn't allow me to go to the stadium, and now I know. And I do understand now, and I thank him for protecting me. But you can clearly see that this man here doesn't think like a normal individual. You know, he's been built in a way to basically survive and to excel and to show the fans a talent which is definitely undisputed. And I just thank him so much for this opportunity for us to sit down and banter, so that you can all get into his head and see how it is that he thinks. So, you know, we thank you so much for listening to us. Yeah? Is there anything that you'd like to say to your friends?
Is there anything I'd like to say? I just like to say, do you know what? You're gonna find yourself in all sorts of situations, but it's one of these situations where you say, do you sink or do you swim? Do you excel or do you fall? And do you know what I mean? And like you said, I've been built in a different, like I'm cut from a different cloth. I'm a survivor.
Go.
You know what I mean? I'm a survivor. You can put me in a pack of wolves and I'll come out leading them.
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean? So it takes a lot to bring a man like me down. And I feel if more people had my mentality and more people were as mentally strong to break down barriers, I know 100% no one should have to work twice as hard as his fellow person. But if that is the case, that is the case. If you don't take the first step to have that battle, then your fellow man will not have the opportunity to carry on from where you left off. So I always say, as hard as the battle is, it's your battle. You need to battle through to make the next generation have an easier battle. It's a continuing battle. It's not going to end today. It's not going to end tomorrow. But one thing you know for sure is one day it will end, and there will be some form of more equality, progression, because people are going to be in position of power. People are going to be in better position than what they were. Do you know what I mean? In another life, if I want to invest in a club in Bulgaria, I could have changed the the outlook on how people act in the stadium. I could have done more, but I have to survive it and I have to fight through it to make progression for the
to
next
understand
to understand it, to make the next generation's life and path a lot more easier than what I went through. It's a battle and we have to continue fighting it out. So whatever situation you're in, just keep at it, keep fighting, keep breaking down doors, keep breaking down boundaries. Don't let
don't get beat down. Get beat down.
Don't let your color or your race
define you
as a person. Don't let your race hold you back just because someone is saying, oh, you're never gonna get this job because you're this, you're never gonna do this because, listen, go it, conquer it, and guess what?
And believe you're gonna get it.
And believe.
Because I'm tired of people getting shot because they've got that job interview or they've got that job because they weren't expecting it. So because they weren't expecting it, they're not prepared. So yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was lovely. It was a very interesting conversation.
It was very interesting, a little controversial, but
very controversial.
But at the same time, we hope, like with every single subject, no one's ever right, no one's ever wrong.
Oh yeah.
But the main thing is that we exchange knowledge, we exchange what each person, and the best thing we can take away is for, like, I know you know what I went through, and I know what you think about the situation, and we can go away. Even though we had that discussion, we can go away and mix it up and come up with a better solution. Or
definitely learn to respect other people's opinions and their journeys. You can always learn something from your brother.
100%. 100%. So thank you.
Thank you for listening to us. Yeah. Okay, right.